How can two identical aircraft built by the same company be so different? How is it possible that major airlines can love the Dreamliner when it's produced in Everett, Washington, yet refuse to accept the identical plane assembled in Charleston, South Carolina? Well, the answers are actually quite shocking. We talk about it next on Maximus. Greetings everybody, Maximus here. I hope you are all well wherever you may be around this great big world of ours. As always, if you haven't yet subscribed, it's always free. After my video last week about an unbelievable third consecutive quality control issue Boeing found on the 787 Dreamliner, it's mind-boggling that just a day after I released that video, Boeing announced yet a fourth issue has been found. This time, it's the vertical stabilizer tail fin that may affect up to nearly 900 Dreamliners. Many of you may feel like all of a sudden Boeing is discovering manufacturing defects in their flagship Dreamliner, but this is far from the first sign of trouble for the 787 and Boeing. So instead of putting together a quick 2 or 3 minute update about the newest Boeing press release, I decided it was time for a Maximus deep dive into the Dreamliner to find out what's really going on. All new model plane launches suffer growing pains. Many may recall the 787 was grounded for the battery fire issues and the Rolls-Royce Trent engine issues that are still a problem to this day. However, that's to be expected with a new plane model launch, especially when it comes to items such as batteries and engines. But Boeing's real troubles with the 787 started with the same people that sent the 737 on its path to destruction, the bean counters and stockholders. Boeing's new factory near Charleston, South Carolina, built in 2009, was heralded as a state-of-the-art manufacturing plant to build one of the most advanced aircraft in the world. But since the Dreamliner factory opened, it has been plagued by poor quality control and anemic management that unfortunately has led to compromised safety. In April of 2019, while the rest of the world was distracted by the grounding of the 737 MAX program, the New York Times was reporting that they had reviewed hundreds of internal emails, corporate documents, and federal records, as well as interviews with dozens of current and former Boeing employees, revealing a culture that often valued speed of production over quality. Facing extended manufacturing delays, Boeing pushed its Charleston workers to produce Dreamliners at a rapid pace, but at times ignoring quality and safety issues raised by the employees. The Times goes on to reveal that things got so bad at the South Carolina hub that Qatar Airways stopped accepting planes from the factory altogether after finding manufacturing flaws, damaged jets, and delayed deliveries. Over the years, workers have filed nearly a dozen whistleblower complaints with the FAA regarding such issues as defective manufacturing processes, debris left on planes, and pressure to not report violations. Joseph Clayton, a technician at the North Charleston plant, said he routinely found debris dangerously close to wiring beneath cockpits. "I told my wife I'm never going to fly the 787, he said. It's just a safety issue. Faulty parts have been installed in planes. Tools and metal shavings have routinely been left inside jets, often near electrical systems. Aircraft have taken actual test flights with debris found afterwards in engines, risking potential disaster." On several planes, John Barnett, a former 30-year quality manager who retired in 2017, discovered metal slivers hanging over the wiring that commands the flight controls. If the sharp metal pieces, small metal shavings produced when fasteners were fitted into nuts, penetrates the wires, he said, it could be catastrophic. A spokesman for the FAA said they had inspected several planes certified by Boeing to be free of this type of debris, and yet they found those same metal shavings. In certain circumstances, he said the problem can lead to electrical shorts and cause fires. Officials believe the shavings may have damaged an in-service airplane in 2012, according to people with knowledge of the matter. The FAA issued a directive in 2017 requiring that all Dreamliners be cleared of shavings before they are delivered. Think about that for a minute. The FAA had to issue an order to Boeing, reminding them to remove debris from planes before they were delivered. It's like a parent repeatedly reminding their slacker kid to clean his bedroom. Less than a month after the crash of the second 737 MAX jet, Boeing called factory employees to an urgent meeting. The company had a problem. Customers were finding random objects in brand new planes. Foreign object debris, or FOD, is a common issue in aviation. Employees are supposed to deep clean and vacuum inside the aircraft as they work so they don't accidentally contaminate the planes with shavings, tools, or parts or other debris. At the Carolina plant, workers continued to find debris unchecked. "I've found tubes of sealant, nuts, and stuff from the assembly process," Rich Mester said, a former technician who reviewed planes before delivery. Mr. Mester was fired, and a claim was filed on his behalf with the National Labor Relations Board over his termination. "They're supposed to have been inspected for this stuff, and it still makes it out to us," he said. Employees once found a ladder and a string of lights left inside the tail of a plane, near the gears of the horizontal stabilizer. He said it could have locked up the internal gears. Employees have discovered loose objects touching electrical wiring and rags near landing gear. The debris can create a hazardous situation. One employee once found a piece of bubble wrap near the co-pilot's rudder pedals, which could have jammed in mid-flight. On a Dreamliner that Boeing had already test-flown, a loose bolt was found inside one of the engines. A small piece of metal could have caused the engine to malfunction or worse. Boeing was used to harvesting local aerospace talent in the Seattle area. However, there was no comparable workforce in South Carolina. Instead, the New York Times article stated that managers had to recruit from technical colleges in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Atlanta, Georgia. Managers were also urged not to hire unionized employees from the Boeing factory in Everett, where the Dreamliner is also made. This is according to two former employees. "They didn't want us bringing union employees out to a non-union area," David Kitson said, a former quality manager who oversaw a team responsible for ensuring that planes are safe to fly. "We struggled with that," Kitson said, who retired in 2015. "There wasn't a qualified labor pool locally to draw from." Planes were also damaged during manufacturing. A Dreamliner built for American Airlines suffered a flood in the cabin so severe that seats, ceiling panels, carpeting, and electronics had to be replaced. While inspecting a plane being prepared for delivery, Mr. Clayton, a technician currently at the plant, recently found chewing gum holding together part of the door's trim. "It wasn't a safety issue, but it's not what you want your customers to see," he said. Remember, these instances all took place prior to 2019. So the fact that of September 2020 there are still quality problems at this factory is quite troubling. Just 4 months after the April New York Times article came out, in August of 2019, the Business Insider brought to light even more red flags airlines were raising regarding shoddy work being done in Charleston. The Insider cites a local story from the Post and Courier in South Carolina that airlines flying Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner have complained to Boeing about unacceptable production mistakes and inconsistent quality. The complaints came as part of an internal survey Boeing asks airlines to complete after planes are delivered. KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines, described the factory's quality control as way below acceptable standards regarding a new 787-10 Dreamliner delivered to them. Some were found with loose seats, missing and incorrectly installed pins, nuts and bolts not fully tightened, and a fuel line clamp left unsecured. "Who looks at quality in this facility?" the airline asked on one survey. However, KLM told the Business Insider that it was happy with the Dreamliner and downplayed that the survey answers reflected any loss of confidence in Boeing or the 787. United Airlines gave the plant above-average marks in its survey, but still noted 20 issues when it inspected a 787-10 that was delivered in April, including 2 dented panels. American Airlines also complained about a program that allowed Boeing's mechanics to inspect most of their own work in order to speed up production by eliminating a second quality control inspector. The airline said that problems not being caught ended up slowing down the production process, resulted in delayed test flights. When Singapore Airlines received a 787-10, it noticed several missing pieces and a scratched cockpit window, saying in their survey that the delivery process was problematic compared with past deliveries of other variants of the jet. One KLM comment said that the Boeing staff seemed to be stretched too thin, potentially affecting quality control standards. A lot of Boeing personnel, factory, and management work way too much overtime, the airline said. Etihad Airlines also said Boeing was not communicating with its customers about the delays, which could cause issues when the airline is building its future schedules. Consequently, we had to find out the true status of the airline on our own and the hard way, Etihad said. It described the delivery as very bad and not good for Boeing or Etihad. Former Boeing CEO Harry Stonecipher, after he joined the leadership following the 1997 merger with McDonnell Douglas, once boasted that he deliberately shifted Boeing's longtime culture so it runs like a business rather than a great engineering firm. And the fact that nobody at Boeing ever sought to repair that culture in all this time should tell you a lot about Boeing. Full disclosure, I love the Boeing 787 and have no problem flying it. It really is an incredible airplane that in its lifetime has never had a crash. It also paved the way for the Airbus A350, which borrowed much of its technology. The problems with the 787 have nothing to do with its engineering or technology, but all to do with cutting financial corners at the expense of quality, simply in a greedy effort to save money and increase stock revenues. What is truly a sign that Boeing has learned nothing from the MAX tragedies or the Dreamliner's problems is that most industry experts fully expect Boeing to close down their Washington Dreamliner production facility in yet another cost-cutting effort and move the whole program to the non-union cost-cutting South Carolina facilities. If that happens, instead of having one facility airlines will buy from and one they won't, Boeing will just have one facility nobody wants to buy planes from. Well, that's all I have for now. I already know you have comments. Let me know down below, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell. And as always, remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.